All right. Um, we've started with this our dictionary web app where the user can come to the site and search for meaning of a word, and this is what we are trying to build here. We've started with the layouts where we have the header section. We've worked on the font changer, and we've worked on our dark and light mode toggle. So if you click on toggle, it's going to open the or change from the light mode to the dark mode. And once you click on it again, it goes back to the light mode again. Too, we have the font picker, which is set to sans serif by default, but you can change the font to mono. And as you can see now, the font has been updated here. And again, you can use the mono, which is using the stuff, or you can go back to the normal sans serif that we have there. So we have the serif and we have the mono. So I'm going to go back to the serif, and now today we need to work on the search. So this search box at the top, we need to work on it. And what do we need to do with this search box? The search box here, we need to firstly create a component and at the same time connect it to the main page, because whatever you type here, we should be able to search the API that we're going to be connecting to later on, and it's going to check whether the data or whatever the user pick here, and we send it along to that API, and we receive a response, and based on the response we are receiving back, we display the stuff to the user. But what if the user inputs something that is wrong? We should be able to display this kind of a error message there. But first, we need to work on the components for that our search, and at the same time, we need to add the functionality that is going to trigger the API call anytime the user is done typing. Not when the user is typing, when they are done typing, because you don't want to keep calling API for each one of the item they are typing. Not that when they type K, you call API. When they add E, you now call API for KE. That's bad. So what we need to do here is that we need to wait for the user to finish whatever they are typing. And once they are done with whatever they are typing, that's when we want to call or we want to get the data out of it and call the API. But first, we need to work on the component. And this is the component that we have for the light mode. And this is how it's going to be where we are dealing with the dark mode. So we need to quickly work on the component. So the only thing that is just different there is the color there. So here, yeah, so let me go into the mobile, because we always want to work on the mobile first before moving into the, and as you can see from here, these are different modes that we're going to have when we are dealing with our inputs there like that. So as you can see, this is how it's going to look normally. This is when the user have not type anything, so it's going to have the search for any word. Then when the user type, this is how it's going to display. So when it is active, when the user is focused on the box, and when there is error, this is what we need to display. So this is the component we need to build. And don't forget, so you're working for the light, we need to work for the dark. We are done with this one. This one too is here. As you can see, when the button is over, this is the color that we need to use for the play, and this is the one that is going to be there. But I think for this one, we don't have the image for the two. Do we have the image? Because I think we only have one image for play. So let me go there. We have the icon play. So we only have one play button. So which means this thing should change to different play button when, so we can do the same thing that we did last time where we duplicate the icon and change the color code. So the same thing too for display. We need to duplicate it and update the color code. And we're going to be switch them based on whether the user is on top of the stuff or not there. But for now, we're going to focus on the search box. So this is how search box is going to look like. All right, luckily for us, for the icon is the same for all the states and the mode that we have there. So let's start. We already have the component already. The only thing we just need to do is to start implementing the stuff. And if you look at the design here, because this thing, if you look at it from the last one, you see that there's extra message that is going to be there apart from the box. And again, to inside the input, you see that we have this icon there. So how do you do something like this? You know that you cannot put anything inside input. So what we need to do here is to have a container that is going to wrap everything here. So what we need to do is to have a container. So no, this is not what I want. Go back to this side. So yeah, we need to have a container. So this container is what is going to wrap everything here. And inside that container, we're going to have another one here too, which is going to hold the input, and at the same time is going to hold the icon. So this is the layout we need to have in our file there. So this is the layout that we need to have. So let's go there now and do the necessary stuff. So we already have this outer layer. So this outer layer here is going to be this, and inside it, that's where you're going to have another layer. Inside this place is where we're going to have the inputs, and at the same time we're going to have the image. So we're going to have the image, which is going to be the search icon. Is that the name? So let me check. So we have this, yeah, icon search. So let me see, images icon search. Yeah, so it's correct. So after this layer, we are going to have the P, and that's the error message that is here. So whoops, what do we have there? So it can be empty. So like that. So you can't have empty search. But yeah, so that's when this thing is going to. But how do we display this image? How do we show this message? So we're going to get there, but for now let me just type whoops, can't be empty like this for now, but this thing is complained because I need to escape. So what was this yeah, this one, so to just generate that stuff. So for now I'm just going to give it a class name, which is going to be hidden for now. So let's just hide it because I don't want to focus on it. So let's go back to the page and let's see what we have. So we have this our icon. So where is the so this is our input, but we need to put them side by side and make sure that this thing is displaying the way it's supposed to be there, like that. So here we need to make sure that they are side by side. But first, let me check how it is on the mobile. So where is the mobile design? I think it should be the same. Yeah, so it's still the same whether we're on desktop or mobile. So it's always going to fill the entire box. So I'm going to focus on this area here because I know that it's the same across. The difference is just the width, which is going to depend on the container that we have there. So where's our container? So where is our container? Let me expand this thing a little bit so that we see what is going on. And I want this thing to be wrapped. So view, what I want to do here is view, so word wrap, so that it goes to next line. Yeah, so for this first div here, we're going to have the class name flex call like this, and the gap is going to be around this 4 because it's the one that is going to move this text. So let me remove this hidden for now so that you can see it. So as you can see, the text is going to be down, then this other one is going to be like that. So for this one too, let me give it background so that you can see what is going on. BG red 500 like this. As you can see, the input is there and this one is there. So we need to display it as flex, so flex, so that we can have the icon and the input side by side like that. So like this. So what do we need to do there? So this input, we need to style it, but it needs to take the remaining space inside the parent. So class name, so flex one, because just take the remaining space and leave the icon to the other side there, like that. So and I can see that this thing is having padding inside it. So if having padding, so what is the padding do we have here? So click on this text, and as you can see, the padding is for top and bottom is 1.25, for left and right is 1.5. So for this, we need to have a px. So px is left and right, which is 1.5, which should be around that 6 or so. 1.5, yes. So and for the top, that's py. So for our pi, we have 1.25. So we have anything like that. Why 1.25? So this is it. So save like that. And again, too, we need to have background on it. So you need to have background. And what's the background that is here? If you look at it, the background is using is this, which is this F4 like this. But when it is in dark mode, as you can see that the background is different. So this is the background it's going to use when it is in dark mode, and it's going to use the other one when it is in light mode. And you know we did not copy all those colors, so I'm going to use some of the predefined stuff that we have here. So we don't need this BG red because it doesn't need anything there like that. And again, too, there is a problem here because the way this thing is supposed to work is that you see that that icon is actually inside the input, but our own it is outside, so it will not work. So what we need to do here is to position this icon absolute inside the parent so that we can move it anywhere, because I don't want the styling to be on the parent. I want the styling to be on the input itself. And as you can see now that it's supposed to be part of that box. So we are going to position it later on like that. So but for now, let me remove this one. What we just need to do for now is to give this one relative so that we know that the calculation is always going to be based on it. So for this one, we need to apply the BG. So BG, let me use slate. No, not this. It should be this. Let me try this 300. Nah. So let me try 200, and let me try 100. I think this 100 is okay. So yeah, I think 100 is okay. It should be rounded. So it should be rounded. So rounded small like this. Rounded medium. It's very small. Rounded 2XL. Rounded XL like this. I think 3SL should be okay. Yeah, this one is okay. So let me check again. Yes, it should be okay like that. So what do we need to do? What we need to do here is that this thing must be inside. And again, too, I don't like this line that is using by default. We need to change it. This is the color we have to be using when it is focused. So this is supposed to be using our normal color then. And if you check it, what is happening is that the style is applying is when the stuff is when it is focused, and you can trigger that state by coming here and trigger the stuff. And I see that it's not using, because Tailwind has removed a lot of things on this our element. So we're going to change all this styling by ourselves. Or another way of doing it is by actually bringing the Tailwind, by talking to Tailwind to bring all our form back. So that's another way of working with this thing. But for now, I don't want to install any external stuff just to do that. Or we might actually add it later on. So yeah, what do we need to do? We need to position this image as absolute. So class name absolute, and once it's absolute, then the input is going to cover up the entire stuff. So we want this thing to be half of its parents like that. So what we can do here is to use this top 1/2, which is half. So be 50%. On the right is going to be 4, which is 1 rem like that. Then translate minus translate is what we normally do before. So just to, what this thing is doing is going to translate, but for only the y, and it's going to return it by minus 50, because if this line is not there, it will not be perfectly centered. So let me remove that line. Can you see? The only thing we are moving to the center is the top of the image, not the center of the image. So in order for it to return back to the top, we need to translate it back. Minus here means that you are not coming down, you are using negative value. So this is going to be half, but it is minus whatever half that we have there. And now it will return the image to the center. Because it's only, when you say top here, it's only moving the top of the image, not the center. But we want the center of the image. So and that's why this thing needs to be there so that I can return it back by 50. So this top is moving down by 50. This one returning by 50. To now be 0, 0. They will meet at the center like this. And now we have that we have it at the center of the box. And there's another thing that we need to be careful of, because now imagine the user type and whatever they are typing actually get to the edge. You see that it will cover the stuff. So we need to add more padding on the right side. So like that, because this thing is there. So we need to add more padding on the right. So here we use px. So we need to update the right side by using pr. So pr should be maybe let me see 7 or let me see 10. Yeah, so I think 10 is okay. And as you can see here, whatever you are typing, this is ready to stop. It will not get to where this box is. The left will still stay the way it is, but this one is going to maintain what we have here. And if you look at it, the color is different. When there is a text inside it, this is how the color is supposed to be. This is the color we're supposed to use. And I'm not using this color right now. And when it is in, or before I get to that one, so when it is in dark mode, the text inside supposed to be white, which is working already, and the background of this one supposed to be the dark stuff. So we need to update this BG. So dark, when it is in dark mode, BG should be split around this 700 or so, like that. Yeah. So let me try 900. Hope it's not going to be. I think it's okay with this. Let me see 700. No, 800. And what about gray? What about gray? So gray like this. I think gray is more perfect. Gray is perfect. So this is what we need to have. But the text inside is not like this. So currently the text inside this stuff is using, what is it using there? Um, so he's using the default, which is going to be 16, but let's go back and check what is he using. The font is 1.25. Is that what he's using on mobile too? Because don't forget, we are working for all the screen. So on the mobile, it is 1 rem. So which means by default, just use whatever that is here. But once you're on a medium screen, we want the text to be something else. So on medium screen, the text to be XL, which should be around that 1.25. Yeah. So save, go back to the page, and once we're on a medium screen, the text should get bigger like that. On small screen, it will be using 1 rem, but once you get to bigger screen, then it's going to be using that 1.25. So go back to our normal mode again. Too should be bold. It should be bold, and at the same time, yeah, as you can see, the font is 700 like that. So it should be bold, whether you're in dark mode or in light mode. So fonts, so it should be font bold like this. So saved, and go back to the page. Our text should now be bold, but the color is not like this. The color is actually that black, but I think the color is showing for us right now is, to me, it looks okay than what they are using there. So I prefer this color, and once in the dark, then it's go back to the white like this. So this is how this thing it's going to work. Yeah. So we have this box, and if you look at the spacing between this box and these whoops can be empty here. I don't think that's the spacing that is there. So let me go back to the components and check it again. And again too, we need to work on the line when there is error or no error. So the line needs to be updated there like that. So when you're not typing, we did not put this stuff. When you don't have anything inside the box, it's empty, which is not supposed to be. So yeah, as you can see, it is empty, but that's not how it's supposed to be. So let me go back. Let me go back there. So when the stuff is empty, we want to have a placeholder, and our placeholder is going to be this text. So, and once you save, as you can see, we have this search for any words. But once you start typing, then it will show whatever you type there like that. When you're inside a box too, we want the styling or the line to change for now. And don't see any reason why we have this particular stuff for now. But for here, what we need to have is we need to change the line. So when it is focused, the outline like this. So focus, outline, up, purple. Is that what we use for our color? Like this. So when it is focused, outline is going to be this. No. So focus, outline should be this one. So the line is going to be one. The style is going to be solid, and it should, yeah. So when it is focused, we want to have this outline around the stuff. So let me expand it more. So when it is focused, we want to have the outline styles to be solid, outline weight to be 1 pixels, then the outline color to be that our color code, and it's only going to do that when it is focused like this, so that we can have it like the way it is on the design. But for now, I'm going to skip the, let me apply the styling for this one too. I think we have this app read already. So this one is 1 point, it's still the same font that is here too. So let's apply the stuff. So app red. So it should be app text app red, and I think yeah, like this. So the on a medium screen, the text should be XL like that, 1.125. Is there any other thing that is here? No. So just save it like that for now. And again, too, the spacing is not like this. This spacing is really much. So where is the parent? Did I apply gap? Yeah, the gap is really much. The gap should be around this 2 or 1. So let me try 1. Yeah, I think 1 is okay like this. And this error message is not going to come outside for now. So I'm going to use hidden. So I'm going to use hidden to hide it. For later on, when we are dealing with errors, we're going to come back into it. So we're not going to see it for now. So what do we need to do? Our input is available now. What we need to do is to keep tracking of whatever the user is typing. And once they are done typing, because when I'm still typing, I'm not done. But once I leave it for like maybe a second, then it will see that you are done. Then from there, it will update the URL with whatever you type. Then once you update the URL, this one will see that the URL have changed, and it will call the API to fetch the data that is related to what you have inside the box. And once we clean everything that is inside here, we just remove. But I don't see any UI there, because this UI is not complete. Because the UI that is being shown to us is telling us that you're always going to have something typed there. But what the user did not have anything typed, what should be shown at that time? So, which is okay. As you can see, nothing is going to come outside. So which means the first time you get to the app, what we just tell you instead of this text is that we can just find something there, like welcome to our app, put something inside the box to see the result, or we don't even show anything when there is no content inside this box. So when there is no content inside this box, everything we have here will just be empty. And the only time you see something here is when you've already typed, and we call the API, we'll get the data back. And if there is no data, we are still going to display the error to the user there like that. So here we have this our box, and how do we get the details that the user is typing inside it? Not when the user is typing, not when the user, because what we normally do before is as user is typing, we are getting what they are typed, what they put inside the box. But that's not what we want, because you don't want to be calling the API anytime the user is typing. Like I type K, you update the URL with K. I type E, you update the URL with KE. I type Y, you update it with. So this is bad, because for each key that the user is typing, you are calling API. Now imagine the user types something that's long, and you're not going to call API for each one of them. No. You wait for the user to finish typing. For this kind of application, no, you have to wait for the user to finish typing. Like once you're done with whatever they're typing there, that's when you will now do what? You will now update the URL. And what do we need to do there? If you look at our app, you see what we have there, or the setting that we have. And as you can see, by default, this is where we are. But once they put something inside the stuff, we are going to put it as part of the URL, like this. So we're going to put the stuff as part of the URL, and this page will be able to see it. And once you see it, it will call the API to get the details for the user there. So, but how do we now get these details into the URL? To get the details into the URL, we need to have access to what the user is typing inside the box. But don't forget, whatever the user is typing inside the box, we need to wait for them to complete it first. So how do we do that? To do that, we need to use something known as debounce. So we have in programming, we have something called debounce here. And when I'm talking about the bounce, this is what you can use to delay updates of your variable. So the bounce is really useful anytime you want a delay in between the data that you want to save. So you have a data somewhere here and you want to have a copy here, but the copy you want to have should depend on this. And the only time it will update this one is when you, like, the user is done with whatever they are doing with this data. That's where you now update the where you want to have the copy. The bounce allows you to wait for a number of seconds that the user is not carrying out any action. So when they are not carrying out any action within that number of seconds, it will update the data you want. But if the user finish with the stuff and that time has not passed and they not do another thing, it will cancel the former one and it will wait for them to complete this new one. Because that's what we want to do here. As the user is typing, we don't just want to be calling the API for. You can see the way these people are doing. See that as I'm typing, it's bringing the stuff out. But we don't want to be calling API like that, our own API, like, because some of the API you'll be calling, they have the number of, you have limits. Like they will tell you maybe like 10 times, or you can call it like 100 times. Now imagine as the user is typing, you are calling it for each one of the keystroke. That's bad. So what you need to do is to debounce it. And what do? You have a function that is going to update your state if and only if a particular time has passed. So when that time has passed, then that's when it will update it. But if the time has not passed, then don't do anything with it like that. And how do we do something like that? We can use this debounce, which we can we'll put this one there. So when you say debounce like this, what is it? You see that this thing is going to bring it out. Its use is a function that you can use to delay saving of your data in between a particular period. So for this, we want to wait for like 5 seconds before this thing will update. So when the user is not carrying out action within that 5 seconds that we're waiting for, and when that 5 seconds pass, then do this thing. But if within that range, user carry another action, it will cancel the former timer and it will reset it again. Because the only time we want this thing to only, as you can see, is only executed after a specific delay. Because you don't want this thing to happen. You only want this to after the particular time you set stop. But if within that range of time that the user stop and they not, maybe they change their mind and type another thing, we're going to cancel what we want to do before and wait for them to finish the new action they want to do. Because we have, we have delay. We have, each one of them have their own time of usage. But for this one, what we need is this debounce, which is a function that we want to run to do something, but we really want this thing to work after a specific delay of time. Not that you know that you're going to do this thing, but you must wait for this period of time first before you can do that action. And when do we want them to wait? When we want this thing to wait is when the user has stopped typing, because as long the user is typing, with the range there is really like, it's really the time frame there is really small. As I typing your key, it's really small. But once you type something and we wait for like maybe 2 seconds and we see that you did not type anything again, we assume that you are done with whatever you want to type. Then from there, we update our URL. Not when you are typing. You have to finish whatever you want to type first before we now update URL. And we can use this debounce which is you need to do research on it because these are some questions you can be asked when they are doing interview. That okay, well, imagine we have application where this is where this is how they can structure the question. Imagine one application where the user can search for details. So how can you make sure that as the user is typing, we are not calling API repeatedly? So what can you do? What you said is that you debounce the API call, because what are you doing here? It means you delay the API call for a number of seconds that the user is still typing. Because when they are typing, you set up your timer. So when they type, you see the entire, you cancel the previous one, you set another one. You keep canceling the previous one. As long as the user is typing, you keep canceling the previous one and set a new one. But when the user stop and they did not do anything, you know, that time and now you did not cancel it. And since you did not cancel it, it's going to carry out the action that you want it to do. And what am I talking about there? If you still remember, we talked about something like a set timeout. When you are dealing with JavaScript, we have something known as a set timeout. We have another thing known as set interval. So set timeout allows you to run a particular stop or to carry an action after a particular time has passed. And this is how it is. So we have this set timeout like this. So what you need is your function and the number of milliseconds it needs to wait before carry out whatever you pass into it. So here now, I have this set timeout like this. So what did I want to do? I want to run this my function after maybe like 3 seconds, because this thing is working in milliseconds. So 1 millisecond is 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds. So since I'm using 3,000, and that's 3 seconds. So and what it's going to do is going to wait for every child. Listen, I don't like this, brother. So what it's going to do is that before it's console log out or before you do whatever you want to do here, it will wait for 3 seconds. So when, as you can see, it's not working, but it will wait after 3 seconds. Can you see? That's where the action. This one that is returning is a number that you can use to cancel it later on. Don't forget, when you're doing the bounce, when the user is still typing, you set the time. But when they type, you need to cancel what you set up before. The number is returning here is what you can use to cancel it later on. But because I'm doing in this console, here, that's why it's printing out the number. Because anything you do console, it will print out. But this is the actual result. Or let me use another thing. So instead of me do 2 plus 3, what I can just do is after 3 seconds like this. So as you can see, it will not show that thing instantly. It will wait for this number of seconds to pass first before doing the stop. But what if you want to keep doing that same thing every 3 seconds? That's where the set interval comes in. So this set interval is useful when you want to keep doing that stuff again and again. So we have the set interval. It's just like that set timeout. Set timeout, we do it once after that seconds has passed or milliseconds has passed. But for set interval, it will keep repeating it after every these milliseconds. Like that. So if I press enter, it will do it after 3 seconds. And again, it will wait for another 3 seconds. It will do it again. As you can see, the second time, it will do it the third time until you stop it. To stop it is just like using this number. So here we can clear set timer. So clear interval like this. So what are you used to clear? Whatever number that it's returned back to you when you are creating it. Now, it shouldn't call this thing again because we've stopped the stuff. So whatever number is returning, that's what we used to cancel it. So you cannot use this functionality of set timeout now to wait for the user or to set something you want to do after a particular seconds. And when the user is not doing anything at that particular time, then you carry out the action. And which action do you want to carry out? We want to update our URL with whatever they type. As long as the user is still typing, the time frame between each key is really short. So it will not be up to around that maybe 1 second, or it will not be up to around that 2 seconds and so forth like that. But the implementation of this thing, we don't want to do it by ourselves. We don't want to implement it by ourselves. We have all this library that you can install, but I'm just explaining it. So if you want to do it yourself, you are going to create the hooks that is going to be doing this set timeout, and the one that is going to be canceling the stuff if a new data or if the user type something else inside the box there. But we don't want to do it by ourselves. Luckily for us, there's a lot of library online that we can use are there. We just need to install them, and it's going to, for example, here, let me just say the bounce React like this. You are going to see different ways of implementing it, but I'm not going to do it myself like that. What I'm going to do is to use the hooks that has been created already there. So, and it's just a library that we can install, and it's going to give us the the bounce in a React way. So we just need to install it, and once we install, as you can see, we need to pass the text. So any text, anytime this text is updated, yeah, it will cancel the previous one. The only time it will give us the value is when this thing that you've not updated that text after 1 second. If you not update that text after 1 second, it will give you the updated value that you are getting from that place. But within that 1 second, if you do any changes, then it will cancel whatever that you used to do before, like that. And from there, as you can see now, we have the input. Anytime it's changed, we update the stuff. But the actual value that we want to use, it will only give us this value after 1 second that you did not update this one. If you did not update this one after 1 second, then it will give you the value. And that's what we want to do, because we want this thing to give us the value when the user did not type anything after 1 second. Or you can set your, depending on your application, you update your number of seconds. Don't forget, 1000 milliseconds is the same thing as 1 second, and that's why it's always been specified as a milliseconds. So you don't put one, no, it is 1000. 1000 milliseconds is the same thing as 1 second. So now we can use these hooks. What we just need to do is to install it there like that. So this is the command within, instead of us creating the code by ourselves, because there's a lot of code we need to create. Or you can even check their document, or you can check the stuff. You can see it here, how it was created. They are using use effects, use states, and the set timeout that I just explained. But I don't want to implement the stuff myself by wasting time on the stuff. But if you want to see how it's being implemented here, you can come to the source, and you're going to see the code that they use like that. So and if you check, can you see what is used is just states. He's using other stuff there too. So he's using states to get the stuff, and he's going to have use effect too, and a lot of other things. But here we don't want to start doing all this logic by ourselves like that. So that's why we want to use a library, but you can implement it yourself too. So let me expand this stuff, open another terminal here, and install it. And once it's done installed there, once this thing is done, so first we need to get the text that the user is typing, because we are depending on that. So set text. But the only time we are going to update the URL is when the text has not changed after a particular time frame. So set text like this, set text, which is going to be use states like this. By default, it's going to be set to empty string, and that thing is done installing. So now for our input, we need to pass our value there. So value is going to be text. Then we need to call the onChange, because anytime the user change the text, we need to update the stuff, and you know that it will reset that timer automatically. The implementation is there. So again, comes the search data like this. I'm calling it search data, which is going to be this use the bounce. And what are we listening for? What text are we listening for? We are listening for this text, and how many number of seconds we want to wait before it gives us the value. So it's going to wait for one this is. So where do we want to use? Where do we want to use sec text? We want to use it on this onChange. So anytime this thing change, what do we want to do? Receive the event, but I don't want to put it here. So let me create a function from that. So const update text like this, which is going to receive the events that occur. And on this event, what we just need to do is set text, not set timeout, set text like this. So events are the target of value to update our value. And here we're going to put this update text. So here now, where do we use this one? So look at it. I'm going to console log that so that you see you see what is going on there. But I don't want to console log out this stuff like this. I only want to console log it out anytime or let me just console log it for now. But we're going to use effect later on here, because we don't want the thing to just be console log out the stuff. We really want it to console log when this thing change and want to see what is inside it. But for now, let's leave it like that. So let me go back to the page now. And once we're on the page in the console, let me clear what is here. So now let's type something. You can see as I'm typing, see that the value is still empty. But after 1 second, it gives us the, when the user is still typing, as you can see, he did not update it. But after I stop typing, it will wait for 1 second. And once the 1 second pass, as you can see, I will have access to it. So it will wait for that time frame first before giving us, as you, if you keep typing again, as you can see, you'll be getting the old one. But once you stop typing, it will not give you the updated value. And that's what we need, because we don't want to be updating the URL when the user is typing. We need to wait for them to complete whatever they are typing first. And once they are done, within 1 second, if you want, you can increase it. If you don't, if you want it to be more than 1 second, so here now instead of 1 second, you can just wait for like 2 seconds after they are done typing. So that's when it will give us the updated value. So now if I type, and now is when it's passed, as you can see, after 2 seconds. But you know that that thing is really like, it looks like it's really far. So 1 second is okay for our application here. So we're going to return it back to 1 second like this. So what did I want? So clear the stuff, and as you can see, after 1 second, that's when it gives us the updated value. So I want to look for keyboard, but as I'm typing, it's not giving me the value. It's giving us the old value. So it's but again too, I don't want this thing to keep fetching for old value. I only want it to give me the data when the new value is different from the old value. And you know, we've talked about effects to do something like this. I don't just want to be console log out like this. The only time I want to console log out is when the value that is inside this our search data is different from the previous one. Because if they are the same, we don't need to call the API again. It's just the same. But if you look at it now, you see that it gives us 2 times for the stuff, which is not what we want, because this thing is going to run 2 times, by the way. So but now we can use our use effects. So what do we want to do? We want to do something which is this. But when do you want to do it? We only want to do it when this search data, or the first time this thing load, when the component load, and when this thing change. We talked about all these use effects before. So now save it and go back to clear all this in, reload like this. As you can see, the first time it's going to give us, because the first time your component load, it will still show it, which is empty. But at that time, as I'm typing, it's not showing again, because it's only when the thing change that it will now bring it out. You know, it's not showing the previous one, because it's saying that it's the same thing. So there's no need of it doing the action again. Again, if I type and remove back, I like this. You know, I quickly type and remove it, but it did not give us, because you see that whatever the new stuff now, it's still the same thing as the previous one. So there's no need of us fetching API again, and that's where the effect comes in. So when I have this keyboard now, it will give me keyboard. But now let me quickly type something and remove it. So after removing, see that it did not, because it's saying that it updates, but it's seeing it as the previous value. So since it's the previous value, there's no need for us calling API again, because we want to do something here inside this effect. What do we want to do? We want to call, we want to update the URL anytime the search data that it gave to us is different from the previous one. But how do you update? Don't forget too, it's going to give you the first time that you load the component, and you know that that thing might not be nothing, so it can give you empty stuff. So we need to check that condition. The only time we want this thing to run is when it is not empty. So when it is there. So if search data like this, so if search data like this, or we don't even need to do this. We can actually pass the stuff into the URL. So if there is search data, we want to do something. But if it's not there, and that is because that is going to be a problem. Once if it is in the URL, do we need to? So we don't want to do anything when there's stuff in the URL. So what we want to do here is that we want to update the stuff. So what do we want to do? We want to navigate. Don't forget we have this navigate that we can use. So at the top, what do we want to do? So const navigate like this is going to be use navigate. So where are you navigating to? It's still the same page. So navigate, and where are you going to? I'm going to the same home page, but now I want to add my search to the list. So now the search data like this, but I need to update this because we are using navigate inside it. We need to update our hooks. So now save it, and now it's not going to work because the first time we check whether if it is there. So if it is there, that's the only time it will update the URL. But now let's type the keyboard. So keyboard now, and wait after 1 second. And as you can see, it will update the URL. Then this one will see that the URL, can you see now? That one will see that something has been updated in URL. Then this one will now call API later on. Again, here, clean this one. I don't want keyboard again. It's key. As you can see, it has changed it. So this one will see that something has changed again. It will call the API to fetch for this particular one. And but what will now happen if you don't put anything there like this? That's what I'm saying, that there's going to be a problem later on. As you can see that it did not remove the key. So we're supposed to remove the key when it is not there. So another thing we can just do here, another thing we can just do is that instead of us using it like this, for simple sake, there. One way of doing is to check whether this is our first load or not first load. But I don't want to do a lot of too much of things so that it will not look so. But for now, let me just leave it like this. Reload it for the first time. When it loads to it will still see that it's just empty stuff, so it will not do anything. So here now, if I type key, it will add the key, and if you remove it, then it will go back to the normal home page like that. And this one will see that it's nothing, then it will wipe off whatever that is there before like that. So because in the other page, so now this one is really done right now, and that's why I say we don't need this error here, because we can actually, whatever that is there, once you clean it, it will just go back to the default state. And that's why I'm saying that this error is not needed, except here now you are now pressing enter. So if you press enter, which you don't need to do because we are not even using form, because we did not listen for enter key. So since we did not listen for enter key, then they cannot. So the only thing we are doing for them is just for them to type. So once they type, they don't need to press enter. That will wait for the number of links before search. But if you want to do in the opposite way, that they have to press enter before you do the search, then the error can come in that one, because now they can press enter for when it is empty. So when they press enter when it is empty, then, but this one I prefer this one because the user don't need to stress themselves. Once they type, then the thing will pick it up automatically. So this is one way of handling the stuff. But the way this one wants us to handle it is that the user is going to press enter, and once they press enter, that's when it will submit. But this one, the user don't need to submit. Once they are done typing, the tool will pick it up after 1 second. But if you are still typing, it will cancel whatever timer that we set up by using that library, that we don't need to start doing it by ourselves there. But I prefer this method. So what else do we need to do there? So what we need to do now is to now update the data here. So we need to have a loader. Let's quickly work on the loader. Let's quickly work on the loader, because when this thing change, we want to show the loading when the thing is connecting to the API. And now when the API is done, there will either be error or no error. So if there is no error, this is what we are going to be working on later on there. So this is what we need to work on later on, all this UI here. So we need to work on all this UI, where we are going to call an API, extract the data as a dummy data to quickly work on it. We are not going to be calling API to work on this thing first. We are going to call the API by ourselves. The data we are getting back, we save it as a dummy data, because you don't want to keep calling API every time we are updating this. So if you don't want to do it like that, sir, we can call one API for the first time and they will start using it to design anyone. But I think we having the data down without going to the API will be better. But for now, let's leave it like that. So here now, let's create the loader that I just mentioned, because this is not showing to us that we're actually going to have a loader, but in a serious app that's dealing with the API, this thing will never come back on time, depending on the network of the user and a lot of other things that can delay the API call. So you need to show something to the user that this thing is actually doing something behind the scene there like that. So we need to talk to the user. For example, here we have do I have any sites that is doing something like that? Let me go to this Freepik. I think freepik.com like this. They used to do some stuff like that before. Let me just search testing like this. Let me see how they handle their stuff. Can you see? So when the data is still loading, you want to show the form of something to the user that this thing is still coming. Oh, so you need to wait. So we need to do something like that. But our own is just going to be a simple loader, just like the way we did before in the previous application there. So we need to build a loader component, and it's going to use our this thing. So here, let's create the layout for that. For the now, I'm done with this start box. For now, I'm done with this start box. So what we need to do is to go into the home page. So we need to input this home page. So here we need to create the loader. So let me go back into the component. We have the not found that, oh, we don't have it. So let's create a component which is going to be new file. So this is going to be loader.jsx like this. So REAFCE like that. So what do we want to do with this? Our loader is just going to be a simple loader there. So this one is going to so class name like this. So H is going to be full, width is going to be full because I want it to full everything. Then it's going to be flex. Everything is going to be center. Whatever that is inside is going to be center like that. So we're going to have a div. We're going to have a span. So we're going to have a span. After this span, I'm going to have the P. Inside the P, we're going to have the loading like this. But it's something that you can customize. So the text is going to be loading by default. But anywhere you want to use it, you can customize the stuff. So I'm going to pass the text here like this. We don't need this one. So delete it. There, I don't like this thing that is telling me. So let me disable this. Let me disable this React props types. Let me disable this error because we don't need to set it for now. This is just a simple app, so we don't need to start dealing with ESLint problem. So let me disable that ESLint rules. So we have these different rules that you can set. Okay, for this is where it stop. So the other one I want to set is going to be this. This one is going to be off. So I don't want it to keep bothering me with that error. So off, go off. Once it's done loading, the error should be off. So for this span, we've not used this thing yet. So let me go to the home page. And here we're going to have a variable that show whether we are loading or not. So we're going to have const loading and set loading. By default, it's going to be true, which is not supposed to be, because when we get API to call, that's when it's going to be true. But for now, I'm going to set it to true so that I can see that it's actually working. So here, if it is loading, I want to show the loader. But if it is not, that's when I want to show this one. Yeah. But again, too, I don't want it like this. So because I want to have a container. So here, if it is loading like this, then show the loader. Uh, uh, then show the loader. But if it is not loading, what do we want to do? They want to show this other content. So let me just move this H1 up for now. So set it up, load, and now we should see loading. So this one now, if you look at it, there is a lot of space here. So this is the container here. So this is the container. Look at where everything stopped. So this box, where is this div? Where is the div? So this div here now supposed to cover up the remain. This is the body, this is the roots, this is the div. So look at where it's stopping. But it's supposed to get to this end here. So it's supposed to get at least this side here. So but it's stopping at that top. So what can we do? What we can do is to talk to this one to have a minimum height of 100 VH, just like the way it is. So this is root is here. So this one too should have these heights, and inside it, this div should take, or this one should take the remaining space that is left in the parent. The other thing, so this is what we need to do. Let me go back to that our layout. So it's under the layout. So this is it here. So inside the layout, we have this header, we have this, we have the main. So what we need to do is that this one should take the remaining space that is left. So class like this, which is going to be flex 1. Whatever space that is left, for now, let me just give it BG red 500 so that you see what is going on. Red 500. You see where it's stopping. Can you see where it is? But it's supposed to get down here. to take the remaining space that is left in the parent. But why is it not taking the remaining space? Because of this one here. So what we can do is mean age should be screened like this. So minimum height should be 100 VH. So it's down, but all this one will not go down. So let me go back there. So this is it. As you can see that it is down. But the main that we have supposed to cover up the remaining space that is left. So we have the header there. We have this div. Then after this div, we're supposed to have this main. Can you see where the main stuff? It's supposed to cover up the remaining space that is left. And that's the reason why here we need flex one. So once we use flex one here, then it should take the remaining space that is left. Again, when the thing is loaded, this loader down too should move everything that is inside it to center like that. So where do we have there? We have this outlet. Then go back to the loader like this. For now, let me remove this one back because we don't need it. It's just for you to see what is going on. So remove this one. Go back to this side and go back to this our loader. But why is it not covering? The same thing too. I can use it here. I can use for this one too. But I can't just use this one like that because it's a cost problem. Like that. What I will just do is flex one like this. Then inside the parents, this one is going to be so class name, so BG red 500, so that I see where it is. As you can see, that one too did not come down. So H, let me use this H full for now. Because that is not giving what I want. All right, so what I have to do is to make sure that it take the remaining space that is left, but that outlet is not giving me that. So let me check the styling. So this is the main. Inside the main, we have this div. So where is this div? Like this. The way this, oh yeah, it will not work. It will not work. Where's my layout? So flex like this, flex call like that. So it will work now because it doesn't see it now. This one is having flex one. Then where is our loader? So this loader should just have a H full like this. But it's supposed to go to the center too because that's the only thing we have there. So let me check. This is it. Yeah, so I have justify center, align center, height should be 100%. All right, so let me move this thing to center first. Time has gone. We're going to look into this one later on. So what is this one? Class name H5 W5 rounded full like this. BG gradients like this. BG gradient to top right from up red to up purple like this. Then we want it to spin, animate spin like this, like that. So saved, and we should have this. Let me remove this red stuff. So where do we have the red stuff? Red stuff should be on the home page. So remove this one like this. So save, and now we should have our loader. So this loader should work on both the light and dark because the color is not, so it should work. But now they are close to each other, so I don't want it to be close like that. So I need to move it down a little bit. So where is the loader? You should just have a minimum height of 300 pixels or 400 pixels like this. So no matter where it's being used, you should have this heights like that because I don't want it to, yeah. So like this, then we have the loading. There is no space in between them, so we need a gap. So we need gap of one like this. because they are not supposed to jam packed together. Uh, via, let me use this via. So via, this one is a way to put the color in between the two of them. Let me see this. Yeah, it's going to put that color in between so that it can show more. Now I don't like that color. Is there any other color that we have there? Let me see other color that we can use. Think, let me try this amber. Nah, 600, 500. I just want some. Nah, it's making the design to look somehow. 800. Yeah, I think this one is okay. Just add a little touch to the stuff. Yeah. So the loading is this. So we have our loader, and again, we want the text to have a pause. So class name, animate pause, so that it can be pause like this. Yeah. So to keep us see tailwind, this thing now for us to do it, there's a lot of things to create there, but with just this simple line, we have this our animation rolling. And if you want to update the speech, you can update the stuff, but I think it's okay for now. So in the next class now, we're going to connect to the API. So the next class, we're going to connect to the API there. So when we need to listen for these params, anytime it change, we want to do something. So anytime the param change, oh yeah, I can just listen for what I'm looking for there. So where is it? So go back to the log, because on the param I need something, and when that thing change, which is this search time, so I need to extract it out. So I don't want to just pass everything. So const search time is going to be these params, then dot search time like this. So now we can add our use effects, because we want this thing to fire API call anytime it change. So use effects like this. So use effect, I'm just going to do simple stuff. The set timeouts. So yeah, like this. No. Yeah, like this. So what do we want to do? So const fetch data, which is going to be a function. So this is how we need to do it. And this is function is going to be async, like that. And inside this function is going to do something. So fetch data. So it's going to call this API for now for the simple stuff. And inside this place, we need to set loading to true, and we need to call API, but that's not what I want to do. So here for now, it's just going to be false. The loader is going to be false for now. Then inside this fetch data, we need to check first. Do we have search time? So if search time like this, that's the only time we want to call the API. Because there's no search time, there's no need of you calling API. So from there, we just set timeouts, just a simple timeout there. And what is it going to do? The job of this one is just to set loading back to false. It's just to mimic that you're connecting to API, and it's going to wait for like 3 seconds. So it will wait for 3 seconds. After 6 seconds, it will just remove the loader. But later on, we're going to connect to API. So this one is just to mimic that you are getting a data. So now save and go back to the, as you can see, it disappears after 3 seconds. But it's going to be API call later, and you can see it will not call because there is no data. But there's a problem where we don't have anything here, but this one is still showing. So we need to match the two of them together later on. But for now, let me just remove everything and reload the app as a fresh stuff. Then inside the box, let's just type something. And once you wait there, as you can see, loader will show. Because once you see that that thing has changed, it will trigger the effect. And once it trigger the effect, then it will wait for 3 seconds. Then after 3 seconds, it will just set this into false like that. So remove this one. It will see that it has changed. Call API again. And after the API is done, the loader will disappear and it will show the details. But the details can be the data that matches this in or error. So later on, or in the next class, the first thing that we're going to do is to create this component first. This one, we're going to work on it down. Then we now start connecting our API there like that. So this is what we'll stop for today. We have our dark mode too, which works. So keyboard like this, and once I'm done typing, it will call the API, which is just a dummy stuff that we're using right now. And after 3 seconds, it will disappear and show the other details. So we don't have data, but here too we need to have a state for data later on. The actual data suppose data, then set data, because I want all these things to be set up. So use state like this is just going to be null right now. So it's going to be null. So if there is data, we want to show something here. If there is no data, then we want to show another thing. So here we need to ask that question too, like that. So yeah, what we want to do is that, do we have data when it is not loading? If you have data, do something, but if you don't have data, do another thing there. So we're going to have the div. We have, or let me just put this one like that. But what if you don't have the data? What do we want to do? What we want to do here is going to be this. Change this thing for me. Then inside this place, what we just want to do right now is welcome to. So there's still some stuff we need to do. So please use the search box to get started. Yeah. So, and again, I want this thing to have class name, text 3XL. Is it not going to be too big on small screen? So it will load, and when there is no data, it will just give them this message. This thing is too big. This is what I have. It's too big on small screen. So it should just be large like this. So wait for 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, then it will give them this welcome text center like this. So text center like that. Yeah. So for now, let's just leave it. But later on, we still need to add another condition here to check whether you've made a search. And if you make a search and there is no data, then it will show that error, because this is not what we want to show when you have something in the box. So when you have the search time and there is no data, there's something else that we want to show. So, but for now, I will just leave it like this. So this is where we'll stop. Let me reduce this thing. So this is what we're going to have. Close it so that am I in 100% or 75? What's going on? 100%. So this is the 100%. Then we have the fonts that we can change, but there's a problem now. Look at it. So we need to undo this stuff. So our Z index is not. So where is the app layout? What's going on there? The site header and the search box. So since you've seen this one last, so we need to move this one at the top. So what we need to do here is that to increase the Z index. So relative Z index of 10 like this should be okay. So from there, now it will allow this one to be at the top. It's just CSS stuff, so it's not related to React. But there's a problem. Look at it now. What did I do? There's a problem. We switch this stuff, something has disappeared. This thing disappeared from that place. So we clear everything that is there before. We are not supposed to clear. So we need to check. There's a problem here. So where is it? Where we are doing this toggle stuff, there's a problem there. So where is it? This font picker. We are not supposed to yeah, as you can see, we clear everything that is there before. So we need to check whether it have dark or not. If it have dark, we add it back. If it doesn't, because now I look at it, it's dark. Oh. But now if you change fonts, it will go back to light. And this thing is showing that, so that is a bug. This is a bug here. And it's caused by this line, because we are updating that stuff and we are clearing what is there before. So before we clear, we need to check whether it have this. So if document.body, so document.body.end.class list like this, then contain. So contains, because you need to check whether it have this dark. So const as or is dark like this. So if it is dark, you need to add that class back when you are done. So when you this one now, you need to update it. So if it is dark, so if is dark like this, we need to update the class. You need to update the class. So document class is on add the dark back. If not, this problem is going to. So anytime you are here and you change, it shouldn't change the stuff. Update this thing back. Are you saved? Is it saved? Yes, everything is saved. So where is it? Ah, let me check. Because that's not what is there. Okay, we have serif right now. Okay, you have the dark. So right now, it's still removing the stuff. Contain dark. What is this thing doing? This AI is crazy. What is adding for my code? Thank God I even checked. It's adding nonsense at the edge. So that's why it's not. So now, let me resolve it. So serif, yeah, everything should work. Because it's checking whether that dark is there. If it is there, return it back. Don't just, because if it's not, you can see it, remove and add it back. But because the thing is fast, you will not see the difference. So go to mono. It looks as if it's only mono is adding, but it actually removed this because the thing is really fast. It's adding it quickly. So you will not even see that it's removed. So yeah, this one has been fixed. So if there's any other fixes that can be done later on, then it's going to be there. So go back to the lights and everything should work. So that is going to be all. Thank you.